If you're in your 50s and retirement has stopped feeling far away, this is your checklist. 10 steps to get retirement ready. 10 concrete moves you can actually do. Get them done and you're walking on your own terms. Miss them and you can work years longer than you need to, or run short when it's too late to fix. By the end, you'll know exactly which ones you've nailed and which ones are costing you. Let's go. Quick bit of context before we get into it. I'm a qualified, FCA regulated financial advisor. I do this for real people every day, so you're getting the straight version. And because I'm regulated, everything here is general information, not personal advice. Let's start with this. Some brutal honesty. Here's the truth nobody tells you. The decade before you stop working matters more than the 30 years before it. The choices you've made in the last 30 years before have just made this decade easier. This is when the big money moves happen and when the expensive mistakes get locked in for good. It sucks. Do not think you are entitled to a good retirement without putting in the work. It takes sacrifice and pain. You do not want to be the parent that's a burden on their kids or working deep into retirement. Most people drift through it and hope. Hope is not a plan, and it's your future that you are failing, not mine. And here's the encouraging bit. You've got more control right now than at almost any other point in your life. The choices you make in these years move the needle hard. So let's turn that control into a plan. 10 steps in order. Step one, and everything hangs off this one. Know your number. Your number is roughly what you're spending a year in retirement times 25. Spend 30 grand, your target is around 750 grand. Less once the state pension helps, and we'll come back to that. If you can't say your number, you can't be on track because there's no track to be on. Your comfort, your standard of living is based on this number. It takes 10 minutes with a rough budget. Do it, and everything else on the list suddenly has a purpose. Step two, track down every old pension you've ever had. The average person changes jobs about 11 times. That can be 11 forgotten pots sitting in old weak funds you haven't looked at in years. There are billions of pounds in lost pensions right now. Some of it is almost certainly yours. Use the government's free pension tracing service. Dig out the old paperwork and write down what you find. This isn't new money you have to earn. It's money you already own. It's your money, just scattered. If you had lost 50 quid down a sofa, you would tear it apart. Go do the same thing. Step three, grab your full employer match. If your employer matches up to say 8% and you've only been putting in 5%, you're turning down free money every single month. That's an instant return you'll never get anywhere else on any investment. If money's tight, this is the first place to find it. Match it to the max today. Step four, claim your higher rate tax relief. If you're a 40% taxpayer paying into a personal pension, you only get 20% added automatically. The other 20% is yours, but you have to go claim it. People leave hundreds, sometimes thousands, sometimes tens of thousands sitting with HMRC simply because no one told them they have to ask for it back. You do it through your tax return, and you can usually go back several years. That's a real check for filling in a form. Step 5, check your state pension forecast on gov.uk. It takes 2 minutes and it's free. The full new state pension is around 12.5 grand a year for life, and it raises with inflation. That is the foundation your whole plan sits on, but you only get the full amount with around 35 years of qualifying national insurance payments. If you've got gaps, you can often buy them back, and the return on buying back a missing year can be extraordinary, sometimes paying for itself within a few years of retiring. Really, steps 3, 4, and 5 are the same idea. Free money, but only if you go and claim it. Step 6, clear expensive debt before you stop earning. Carrying a credit card at 20 odd percent into retirement is like running with the handbrake on. Kill the high interest stuff first. A mortgage is a different, longer conversation and not always worth rushing, but expensive consumer debt has to go. And don't underestimate the feeling. Walking into retirement owing nobody anything changes how the whole thing will sit with you. Step 7. As you get close, build a cash buffer. 1 to 2 years of spending in easy access savings. And here's why it matters so much. If markets fall in your first couple of years of retirement and you're forced to sell investments to live, you lock those losses in. That can do permanent damage to a pot. With a buffer, you spend the cash in the bad years and leave your investments alone to recover. This is the single most important protection near retirement, and almost nobody sets it up in advance. It's not about timing the market. You can't do it. It's about never being a forced seller at the worst moment. Step 8. Use your ISA along with your pension, not instead of it. You can't touch your pension until 55, and that's rising to 57 in 2028. So if you want to stop before then, your ISA is the bridge that carries you across. 20,000 a year, tax free, and you can reach it anytime, any reason. Pension for the tax relief, ISA for the flexibility. Used together, they're a far stronger combo than on their own. Step 9, Make sure the money is actually invested and de-risked sensibly for your age. Two mistakes here, and I see them both all the time. One, cash sitting in a pension doing nothing for years, quietly eaten by inflation. Two, being 100% in shares the day before you retire. If you'd never checked what your pension is invested in, that's your sign. A huge number of people are in the default funds and have never looked once. As you approach the finish line, you ease the risk down so a bad year can't derail you. Not to zero, just sensible for your stage. Step 10, sort out a will and nominate who gets your pension. Here's something most people get wrong. Your pension doesn't necessarily pass through your will. It goes to whoever's on the nomination form. It's your expression of wish. If that form is blank or names an X or hasn't been touched in 15 years, the wrong person could get everything that you've built. 5 minutes with your provider and one form protects a lot. Do it this week. So let's run them back a bit fast. Know your number, find your old pensions, get the full match, claim high rate tax relief, check your state pension, clear expensive debt, build a cash buffer, use your ISA, get properly invested and de-risked, and sort your will and nomination. 10 steps, not one of them is hard on its own. Together they're the difference between hoping it works out and knowing it will. If you only do one thing this week, do step 1. Work out your number and check what your pot is actually projected to be by the time you stop. The gap between those two figures is the entire job, and you can only close the gap once you can see it. So go and make it visible. Nobody's coming to get your retirement ready for you. Not your employer, not the government, not your bank. That's the hard truth, and it's also the good news, because every one of those 10 steps is in your control. You don't need to be rich, you need to be deliberate. That is it. This is general information, not advice, and your situation is your own. If this was useful, subscribe. I'm walking through the whole road to retirement one step at a time. Do step 1 today, and I'll see you in the next one.